First, let's talk about Christmas Eve, right? And now Christmas and Christmas Eve are, if you don't know, are really, really important here in Japan, but for different reasons than you might realize. So in America, Christmas is kind of peak holiday season. You got families, you got presents, you got, fireplaces and candy canes and whatever you guys do with your family. That's kind of your image of Christmas. Japan is totally weird compared to that, and it's very, very different. I mean, it's just different. Like I kind of can't knock it because I lived here for so long, but I do have to acknowledge that there are a lot of cultural differences that you will notice and you will be probably be shocked by, especially if you're in a relationship with a Japanese woman. Um, and some rules or things you're going to need to abide by, or at least just be aware of, so that you can kind of navigate this successfully. And that's what we're going to walk through, right? So the first thing you need to understand is Christmas Eve is more important than Christmas Day here, right? Like, which is kind of a shocker, but the vast majority of activity happens on Christmas Eve. Like 99% of Christmas related activity happens on Christmas Eve here. You got the Christmas turkey, no, not even Christmas chicken. If you know, Kentucky Fried Chicken is a big thing. Not everyone eats Kentucky Fried Chicken, but there are a bunch of Japanese people who line up for Kentucky Fried Chicken on Christmas Eve. Amazing marketing by KFC. Um, there are these. I don't like them. These little soy sauce dripped chicken turkey legs that I'm not a fan of at all. They sell them at the convenience store now too. Basically, everyone's just trying to get on the Christmas buzz, and anything Christmas themed that they try and push it as real Christmas related stuff. It's not really at all. Um, but and Christmas cake is a big thing, which we're going to talk about in a second, because this is something I think the most important thing, whatever level of your relationship you're in, the Christmas cake is something you're really going to need to understand, and you're not going to want to fumble the Christmas cake bag, right? So, first thing, if you're in a relationship, you have to understand, and here in Japan, you have to understand that Christmas is a date holiday. It's more romantic than Valentine's Day here by multiples. So, doing something with your girlfriend, fiance, whatever, is a must, right? Now, in the past, traditionally, I've heard, like in the 80s and stuff like that. Let me get a little back support. In the past, I've heard that, going to hotels and fancy restaurants and stuff like that during the bubble era, the peak Japan, which you've probably been aware of in the scene in like the 80s and stuff like that. That was the main time for like hotel, fancy dinner, maybe flowers, cruising around somewhere, doing something. I never did any of that. I don't recommend you try and do all that. You don't need to break the bank to enjoy some holiday romance on Christmas Eve. What I do recommend though is you have to have a plan, of course. The number one thing is eating in. Eat in with your girlfriend. Tell her you want to spend Christmas with her. She probably wants to spend Christmas with you. If you're in a relationship right now, new, like more than several months, now is the time where you got to start. I'm recording this on November 30th. Now is the time where you got to start lining up your Christmas Eve plans. Like if it's someone you're seriously dating, you hollering at seriously, you want to take it to the next relationship. Now you got to start asking that person, hey, what are you doing for Christmas Eve? Even if you work, even if they work, set up something for late, overnight stay, something like that. All the hotels are probably going to be booked up just because a lot of young couples who want some private time together, who live with their folks, that's what they're going to do. But hopefully either you or her live by yourselves, and so you can just plan something like that. I recommend either you cook or she cooks. A combination of buying a lot of. If you have a department store near you, you meet up together, buy a bunch of things, or do a dinner together. I've talked about it in another video. Do that. But the most important thing that you're gonna have to do is get the cake. You got to get the Christmas cake. Like the man's job in Japan is to get the Christmas cake. I do it every year. It's just something you got to go through. Wherever you are, there's gonna be a department store around. They do have reservations available for Christmas cake. I never make a reservation for Christmas cake. some people line up for it. Like I don't think you need to. There's never like a shortage of Christmas cakes. You're gonna be able to find one or find something. Um, the cake itself is not the issue, but just going to do it is gonna be your thing. Tell her, okay, you cook, I'll bring the cake, or we'll go shopping together. I'll bring a cake and we'll go shopping together, or we'll do the cake shopping, however you want to do it, right? For me, ideally, my image simulation is she lives by herself. You ask her to cook, ask her, does she want you to bring anything? You offer to bring the Christmas cake and ask her if she wants you to bring anything else. Probably you bring some wine or whatever if you drink, some alcohol, some spirits. She'll how to handle the food, something simple. She's like, what do you want to eat? You could just tell her nabe or, something simple. You just want to spend time with her. That's going to be enough to get her moist. But anyway, so yeah, my theory on the Christmas cake has changed quite a bit after doing this for a while. I don't like traditionally you'll see people do the whole like one cake, right? Like one Christmas cake. But it's actually a lot more fun if you do it differently. Get slices of cake. So like if you go to a department store, like probably in the basement, normally typically is where the food is. Look for any cake shop that sells individual slices of cake because it's a lot more fun to sample different cakes together with your partner or in my case my family versus like having one whole cake and we slice it all and everybody gotta eat the same thing. It's just more fun to just switch and share and try this. Ooh, this is better. This is better than last year. Stuff like that. It's much more of a social kind of thing, and you and your partner will enjoy it a lot more than just sitting down slicing. Of course, like you'll have like the moment of a picture together, or whatever you want to do. But trust me, just the experience, the bonding kind of thing, multiple slices of cakes is going to be so much better than one cake by itself, right? So just remember that. All right. Next, leave my notes. Okay, you got romance, of course, right? Now, the next big thing you're gonna have is romance on Christmas Eve. Like that's pretty much what it's for, right? It's your time to be romantic. I don't know why. I don't like. Again, I've heard stories that gifts on Christmas Eve were a thing. I mean, that if you're in a serious relationship, your first time spending Christmas Eve together, if you really want to show like you're down for the cause, you might want to buy a present, but that's setting like a high precedent depending on a lot of factors. So just tread lightly with that. If you do want to give a present, like probably, yeah, showing up without a present would be kind of something like you can expect some presents. You can expect if a girl really really likes you, a Japanese girl really likes you, and maybe falling in love with you. Scarf, earmuffs, gloves. For a dude, those are the typical gifts you're gonna get. Um, I've heard it's because you think of her and when you're commuting, whatever. I get them too from my family. They're just yeah, that's just what it's gonna be, right? You're gonna get a scarf, you're gonna get for her. I don't know. I don't know. My wife always just like you're terrible at this, so I can't really give you the best advice for that. But maybe look for on some websites or some other YouTube videos. I'm sure there's going to be some other resources for you. Jewelry, tread lightly with that because again, you're setting the precedent for that. She'll be in love if you give her like a heart shaped necklace, but then next year, what you gonna do? So I'm not a fan of like setting the bar too high too early on. So just think about that. But fast forward, of course, you got regular standard, bedroom activities. But before you get to that, you're gonna have to. You're probably gonna want to watch a movie together, right? Do some Netflix, do some chilling, and I found the website. I'm gonna try and put it in the comments. It's a Japanese website though. It's all Japanese, but again, you can use DeepL to translate it if you want. And the reason why I did that is because a lot of times Japanese movies have different titles in Japanese versus English. So and sometimes it's completely different. like completely different. So I might recommend the movie to you in English, but you might not be able to find it because it's not available. The title is completely different in Japanese, and she might not have any idea what you're talking about. But I'll just leave the website there. I'll give you full recommendations, like because a lot of them are like cheesy romantic kind of movies that I really wouldn't want to watch. But I found four that I'm willing to sit through if in a Christmas relationship type situation. First one, interesting one, but makes sense to me. Nightmare Before Christmas. Um, I'd say either your girlfriend is gonna love it and has seen Nightmare Before Christmas a bunch of times, or she's never seen it. Might be a little bit dark for her. A funkier girl might be down for that. A standard kind of traditional girl, probably not so much. You're gonna have to use the discretion on that. But Nightmare Before Christmas, I think, works really well. It was on the list. Home Alone, I think, across the board, that's gonna be great. It's been a big hit in Japan. Everyone's seen it. Girl in her or maybe early mid 20s might not have seen it, but it's a heartwarming movie. Um, a comedy called The Night Before. I've seen it with the dude from who's gonna be Captain America. I forgot his name now, but he was he Hawkeye? Or Hawk something? I forgot. Marvel movies kind of suck now, so I can't really remember. Um, but him, he was in it. Pretty good. Tokyo Godfathers. I haven't seen. It's an anime. I think it's a Ghibli movie or it's a Ghibli style movie. That's kind of heartwarming. It might make you want to cry, but it might be. It's like seems like a heartwarming one. But I would probably be willing to sit through it. Anime movie. There's some other ones in there, but a lot of girl kind of chick flick type things, which I really wouldn't recommend. But those four, I'd probably go with if it were me trying to choose like a Netflix and chill Christmas Eve kind of movie night post dinner having drinks before the bed type session. I think that would work really well. All right, so yeah, that takes us through the main stuff for that. Now let's move on to Christmas Day, and basically Christmas Day. If you haven't experienced it in Japan, it's really surreal because it's a regular work day. Like, you don't expect to like, hey, what are we gonna do, honey? Let's sleep in. And no, no. If it's a weekday, like your girlfriend, she's going to work. Like she's going to work early. So if you let's imagine, you do get lucky, you spend the night. Be ready to hit the door like early in the morning. You're not sleeping in. I mean, if you do have the day off from your job, like because it's Christmas, um, you if she lets you spend the day at her place, you can. But just be prepared to wake up early and bounce. So don't get too wasted. Don't sleep in too late. Be respect her time, her career, and be ready to hit the door first thing in the morning. Is my advice. Everything, because it's not a national holiday here. Everything's gonna be like super normal. All the Christmas stuff is gonna come down because like right after Christmas, like the day after Christmas, all the Christmas stuff gets thrown out here in Japan, and like the New Year's holiday season starts.